Welcome back to the Common Sense Crypto channel, everyone. This is Rich making another video on XRP today, as usual. So wherever you are in this vast planet, I hope you're all having a nice day today. I have to start with this from Michael Branch before we discuss XRP. In the actual asset market, XRP's ledger position will compete with Ethereum. The XRP ledger was designed for tokenization, of course. Although gold and silver have long been considered safe havens, US Treasuries continue to be the mainstay of international finance. Ripple and Ondo are essentially testing whether institutions are prepared to embrace blockchain as a fundamental layer of financial infrastructure by allowing these tools to exist natively on the chain. If successful, RLUSD becomes the engine driving cross-border liquidity, and XRP Ledger might become a viable alternative to Ethereum for hosting tokenized assets. After that, you move those tokenized assets and add XRP. However, the XRP Ledger was designed with the impending event in mind. They are still attempting to present the Ethereum case, with its $200 million rail purchase, bank charter, payment, cross-border settlements, stablecoins, RLUSD debut, brokerage cryptocurrency trading, settlement, institutional credit lines, lending, and pursuing a US license. Ripple is putting everything together. For Ripple, everything is aligning flawlessly for the future, and all of these are anticipated to occur in the near future. This is no longer years out. All of this will take place in the upcoming months. As XRP investors, we are truly that close. The leading American exchange maintains Envisions XRP's 35,200% increase to $1,000. The same thing was said by EZA. In the short term, everyone wants to know what will happen in this cycle, but it's still too difficult to predict. So I think it will take some time for us to reach those price thresholds. When might $1,000 be reached by XRP? I would guess late 2026 into early 2027, if it was likely to occur in the near future. Since I'm curious to see what ISO will do. Additionally, I'm curious to see what will happen to some of these central bank digital currencies that are about to launch. The institutional inflows into the ETFs must be examined. We were able to observe how many new businesses are setting up XRP treasuries. We were able to observe the future of the derivatives market. Although there are too many variables to consider, XRP can undoubtedly hit that price point sooner than we anticipate. On the exchanges, XRP is already beginning to decline. It is beginning to fade. They're locking it up. Smoke is the source of this. It's official. For the first time, a blockchain cash wallet functionality for ISO 222 messages will be included in the Swift ISO 222 November 2025 version. Wait though, it has nothing to do with cryptocurrency. Everyone is downplaying ISO. I'm telling you, they believe it will not amount to anything. It's going to be shocking in my opinion. The same reason I repeat encouraging you to spread your bets between ISO tokens and ISO cryptocurrencies is that if you truly want to own the thing that will move all the money, you should own a small amount of each of, according to Johnny Deaton. He received a lot of backlash for referring to the XRP army as the most fervent cryptocurrency group. 75,000 holders from 143 nations joined the fight against the SEC. It's no small matter. The term decentralized justice was created by us. For such self-criticism, people ought to give new graduates a lot of credit and consciousness, which I hope others adopt in a similar manner. Listen to his thoughts on the XRP community here. I mean, XRP is the ideal illustration of that. One of the most robust communities is found on XRP. Yes, say something negative about them if you want to find out about it. Yes, people will be protesting you outside your home with picket signs. Those members of the community adore their token. They have a story that will involve cash and rights. We can examine the blockchain's numerous usage cases. I mean, it's not quite as much as on Solana. Tiny has no bearing on their value proposition at the moment. The intensity of that community is their value proposition. Additionally, the parent business is selling tokens at that time. Consider that their community is that strong. I wish I had such a strong community to support me. Like the holders of XRP tokens, I want the Galaxy shareholders to be as fervent. And I used to brush that off. Then it hit me, what the hell? Half of what crypto is that. And it resulted from people losing faith in governments after 2008. See how the XRP community is such a strong community, and how much faith there is in the government. I believe it's because we both see the same direction for XRP. He mentioned Solana, so pay attention. Everyone believes that Solana will always be the future. Supporters of Solana always think that Solana is the way of the future, but I think this is what's going to happen. I believe there will be even greater FOMO for XRP once central banks begin using it and it begins to move in value. Additionally, I believe that the price will change quickly. You will always be aware that XRP was the one selected as that is taking place. However, other individuals are now beginning to pay attention to XRP as well. It's not merely relegated to the background anymore. People are beginning to discuss it freely. People who used to despise it are now discussing it. Bitcoin is also referred to as a cult. Well, at least my cult does not worship 9 elected central bankers in Washington, D.C., who gather behind closed doors to determine how much of your life they will embezzle this quarter. According to him, the XRP community is a cult. But pay attention, when he said that Bitcoin was a cult, he used the phrase "my cult." We were correct all along. Even if they may claim whatever they want about the XRP community, it didn't seem like XRP would ever recover, even throughout what seemed to be the worst periods in cryptocurrency history. I'm referring to the SEC versus Ripple case, which was in full swing, and the crypto crackdown. We remained united and took stock of our current situation. The way that Bitcoin and Maxis think is completely different. They constantly attempt to manipulate the story in an attempt to get Bitcoin adopted, but it will never happen. And this doesn't worry them in the least. Bitcoin has the worst security model of any endeavor in human history. According to David Schwartz, it depends on honest users actually paying more money to keep it safe than any dishonest individual would conceivably be ready to spend to attack it, in order for it to stay safe. Even though Bitcoin has a lot of issues, no one ever wants to discuss them, or they choose to overlook its issues. Do you recall? This is the reason they despise XRP. Listen to this out. Proof of employment is ineffective. Proof of employment is ineffective. Let me finish. Proof of employment is ineffective. Please let him continue. Additionally, a large team of developers split off to produce other assets in the early days of Bitcoin. Among them is XRP, which doesn't require mining, is less expensive in terms of energy than Visa, and can already handle 1,500 transactions per second. Many of these issues have been resolved already. Adoption is a problem that returns to policy. Adoption has been hampered by the policy ambiguity surrounding some of the assets, especially in the US. And since we use XRP and Ripple because it costs half a cent every payment, I'm speaking from those two assets. It is effective, scalable, and essentially free. 1,500 transactions are involved. The second is that almost no energy is burned. As a result, we are now at a time when all of these problems have actual solutions. The problem now is policy. On the first panel, we learned about China's centralization, which Peter would find difficult to accept. However, 6 mining pools, 5 of which are located in China, control 80% of the Bitcoin mining power. Even though Bitcoin and Ethereum are platforms under Chinese control, there is currently policy certainty for them in the US. As a result, those platforms see activity. From the standpoint of US policy, we must examine the areas where uncertainty exists. XRP, which resembles Bitcoin, is one instance where I'm speaking directly for myself. It is open source and decentralized, possess only 7% of the validation power on that, which is a really modest amount. Putting together or clarifying those that are extremely similar to Ethereum and Bitcoin, share similar traits, and ought to be categorized similarly. Note that he used the word clarity several times. He is pushing for a fair playing field for XRP, which is what we are getting, and rules that are coming soon will further level the playing field, making it a completely level playing field. And I believe that when that occurs, Bitcoin will become even less relevant. It will occur gradually since, as he stated, all of the adults there are aware that proof of employment is ineffective. Hello, Kathy Wood. Just so you know, there is a finite amount of XRP, and it is burned with each transaction. You are aware that there is a stronger case for XRP's scarcity than Bitcoin's. According to Kathy Wood, Bitcoin's limited supply will make it the most popular cryptocurrency by far. 21 million units is the limit. Scarcity is always promoted as a use case. Why? Because there is absolutely no purpose for Bitcoin. Therefore, the utility must be scarce. They always like to refer to it as digital gold, if it's not that. During a period when gold is actually becoming